Hello everyone. Hope everybody is doing well. So today I am going to discuss how to prepare for a job interview. In my last video, we had discussed how to prepare a perfect CV. Now, the questions you are going to be asked at a job interview are going to be intrinsically linked with the way you have prepared your CV. Now, one of the most popular mode of questioning for interviewers is to ask regarding your prior internship experiences and your prior job experiences. Now, there are two kinds of questions which an interviewer may ask regarding your prior internship or job experiences. The first one would be asking you about a particular work which you would have done in such positions, which you either found challenging or where you think your legal skills were put to good use, or maybe a memorable piece of work which you still think you give yourself accolades for achieving that particular thing, etc. So, for instance, if you have worked maybe in a corporate law firm or in a M&A space, they may ask you what was the one deal that you still remember and what was your contribution to that particular deal. If you have worked in an advisory opinion, they may ask you what was the one particular piece of advice or opinion that you rendered to your client where you think you were able to deliver to the satisfaction of the client. So you need to basically prepare at least one piece of work which you have done in all your prior internship experiences or in your jobs. So that way is you would have at least one thing to say when they ask you what you think was the most challenging work you did at this particular organization. Now, the second type of question which they ask would be centered around the basic legal principles. So if you have been an employment lawyer, they would ask you something as simple as, tell me the difference between an employee and a workman, or tell me the difference between a principal employer and a contractor. So you need to know the basics of the field you are working in. Or if you work in the sexual harassment law, they may ask you how does the victim file a complaint. So those kinds of basic things, procedural, conceptual, etc., are the things which you need to know if you have been working in a particular field of law, or if you have even sometimes if you have a niche internship in your CV. For example, if you worked in a data privacy firm, they may ask you basic conceptual definitions or questions regarding the data privacy law. So therefore, you need to have the basics perfected, and you should know what the basics of the law are all about. Now, apart from being questioned on your prior experiences, now another type of question which may be posed to you would be regarding any paper that you have written previously or any papers that you have presented. So typically what is asked with regard to a published paper is, tell me what your argument in this particular paper was. What was the central idea of this paper? What were you arguing for? What were you arguing against? And if you were arguing for or against a particular position, why was that? So in short, you need to explain to them your entire paper with its arguments, conclusions, and the position you argued for or against. Now we come to moods. So a lot of people have a number of moods listed on their CVs. So if it's kind of expected that if you have mooted in a particular area, you would be well versed with that particular area in a lot more depth than you would be otherwise. So for example, if you have done a criminal law, now the interviewer may ask you many very minute details about criminal law, basic concepts about criminal law, or maybe they can give you a factual situation and they would tell you to apply the principles of criminal law to that particular factual situation. So if you have done a moot around a particular area of law, make sure that you know each and everything about it. By each and everything, I mean the basics of that particular law and how it would be applied in a real-time scenario. Now, apart from the technical questions, some other questions are also asked, like, for example, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, etc. Now, strengths, typically everybody is able to answer. But when it comes to weaknesses, people often tend to speak about how they tend to overwork themselves, or they are extremely punctual, and hence they do not have a lot of time left for their own being, etc. Now, these are very typecast answers which almost everybody gives. Therefore, I would suggest to steer clear of such answers and be honest and truthful. Let the interviewer know that what are your actual weaknesses, and also let them know how you have been working towards improving upon that particular weakness. So the interviewer shouldn't think that this person not only knows their weaknesses, but they're also willing to work towards it, because everybody knows that no one is perfect. Now, where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, etc.? That's also a very typical question which you would encounter in an interview. Now, when answering these kind of questions, you should always have a framework or a goal in mind. Before you actually apply for a job, you should know why you are applying for that particular job. And that's the answer to this question. For example, if you want to become an IPR lawyer and you are applying to an IP law firm, you can always tell them that in 5 years' time, I wish to learn a lot from this firm and contribute back to it. Or maybe I want to, augment my IP skill sets, and that way I can become a valuable resource to the firm. So this is the way in which you should answer these long-term and short-term goal questions. And you should be very clear in your head why you are applying or why you are appearing in that interview. Now, another most important question, which a lot of people actually miss, is why do you want to join that particular organization? So in order to answer this, you should have done a proper thorough research on the organization at whose interview you are. You should know what that organization does, why you want to join that organization, how would that organization help you. So you should have done your background research before the interview. As an additional pointer, you should also know, like if you know the name of your interviewer beforehand, do a small LinkedIn search on them and just get to know who they are, what practice area are they in, etc. That also helps you to understand the kind of questions that they may ask you. Apart from this, stay calm, stay confident, and be always truthful about whatever you're saying. Even if you have a weakness in your CV, do not hide it and let the interviewer know about it if he asks. Because the interviewer would also know that the person sitting opposite me is a truthful and honest person, and he is never going to do anything which may put us in jeopardy. So that's why you should always give a very sincere image to your future employers. Hopefully this helped you. If you have any doubts at all, please do leave a comment here or message me on LinkedIn. Thank you. Have a nice day.